They're 8 meters long, weigh 6 tons, and are one of the ocean's most feared killers. Ambush hunters. No prey is too big for them. Most would consider it madness to enter the water with them. But one extraordinary woman thinks differently.
Wow, that was incredible. I get called all sorts of names for getting in the water with the orca. Crazy, reckless, irresponsible.
Ingrid Visser is the only researcher in the world to swim with wild orca, or killer whales as they're also known.
They spend less than 10% of their lives at the surface. So if you really want to understand what they're doing, it makes sense to get in the water with them.
Ingrid's maverick approach is revolutionising our understanding of orca behaviour. She's discovered New Zealand's orca are critically endangered. And this year, she's witnessed an unusually high number of deaths.
We have absolutely no idea why he died, if it was from natural causes.
Now she's on a one-woman mission to find out what's going on.
If I had to, I would give my life for those animals. I would do anything for them to protect them. I really would.
It's these giant sunspots that could unleash a superstorm. The loop shooting out of them can reach hundreds of thousands of miles into space. And when one explodes, it's like 10 billion nuclear bombs detonating all at once. Imagine the entire world's nuclear arsenal exploding simultaneously. Multiply that by 1 million, and that's still not as violent as what's going on here.
These violent solar storms form deep inside the sun. They emerge from sunspots, and when they erupt, billions of tons of superheated plasma blasts out into space. This is a solar storm. Records over the last 2 centuries show every 11 years the number of sunspots increases. It's a period called the solar maximum, and it's happening right now.
What we have here is a plot of the number of sunspots on the disk of the sun. You can see that the number of sunspots is reaching a peak. When it does that, we'll have the maximum amount of solar activity, the maximum number of solar storms coming from the sun and impacting the Earth.
The tsunami disaster of 2004. 8-year-old Amber is on the beach.
I really thought the worst. I thought that we'd lost Amber.
It was my worst nightmare.
She was saved by an elephant.
Anyone saved my life.
It is less than 2 hours since the earthquake, and suddenly the sea disappears.
I was riding in Nung, and while I was riding in, the sea had gone out really far.
The tsunami is minutes away.
The mahout was collecting the fish that didn't go back with the sea. And England was behaving like really weird because he kept trying to walk the other way to walk off the beach, but the mahout was pulling him back.
At the time of Newton's experiments, it was well known that if you pass light through a prism like this, then a spectrum of colour is produced. But what most people thought was that somehow the prism was colouring the light. But Newton thought differently.
He wrote in a letter to the Royal Society, "Having darkened my chamber, I made a small hole in my window shuts to let in a convenient quantity of the sun's light. I place my prism at his entrance."
Now, to prove that it isn't the prism that's colouring the light, Newton had a brilliant idea. What he did was to isolate one of the colours, and he did that using a screen. I'm going to pick out the green. Now, if it was the prism that was colouring the light, if I put a second prism in front of this green, it should change the colour. But when Newton did that, what he saw was the same green colour on the wall. It wasn't the prism that was colouring the light. Newton had proved that it was the sunlight that was made up of all of these different colours. He'd unearthed the secrets behind the visible light spectrum.
This is the first time an Atlantic great white shark has been filmed underwater for over 30 years.
That's a beautiful thing.
At 18 feet, it's also one of the largest ones ever filmed.
Son of a... God! That's a good one, man.
The largest officially documented is 21 feet.
Yeah!
Suddenly, Curly stops feeding and heads right for the cage. She attacks the orange buoys, the only thing keeping the cage from plummeting to the bottom with Greg and Nick inside. Then, she gets trapped on top.
Pound it real hard. Get them out. That is unbelievable.
The shark had total control over us because the cage was moving as the shark undulated and struggled. And I kept thinking that I just need to get to the bottom of this cage and hold on tight because it was a hell of a ride. Luckily, she got out.
Gets no better than that.
You couldn't have planned that.
So what are you going to do tonight? Like get an ice cream to top off the day?
I'm going to Disneyland.
Yeah, I think you've already been.
With her tag in place, Curly's every move will be recorded over the next 8 months. Who knows what secrets will be revealed about the lives of the Atlantic's great whites.
$200 million years ago, turtles lived on land. When the dinosaurs came, they ran away to the sea and became creatures of the tides and the currents. But the land did not want to let them go. She has only one thought: to escape. The land is not her place. she pulls herself free of land's hold and into the unknown abyss of the sea. Even though she has never been here before, she knows the way. The Gulf Stream is the ocean's great highway. Each spring, the sea's restless nomads travel fast and far on the current's flow. Her flippers, like wings, were made for traveling, not for staying.